If you're an HR professional who works hard to fill roles within your company, keep employees engaged, and build company culture, welcome to America Back to Work, where dreams only work if we do. We'll share wide-ranging issues surrounding pre-employment background screening, HR topics such as recruiting, hiring, labor trends, and company culture, as well as broader HR-influenced business topics such as customer experience, service level excellence, and protecting what matters through best practices in prevention, protection, and corporate security. America Back to Work is brought to you by S2 Verify. Here's your host, Arnette Heintze.
Welcome to America Back to Work, brought to you by S2 Verify, where our purpose is to help you hire with confidence and manage insider risk. I'm your host, Arnette Heintze. Thank you for joining. Today, I'm thrilled to have Jen Sanning as our guest. Jen is the Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer at Forrester. This week, our conversation is all about the customer and why a relentless focus on customer service and customer experience is critical to establishing a competitive advantage for your business. Jen, before we get started on our topic today, would you mind sharing a little bit about your background, your experience, and the work you're doing at Forrester with our audience?
Yeah, I would be happy to. And thank you for having me. Great pleasure to be here. I have a 30-year background, primarily in marketing and customer experience. Recently, I've joined Forrester as an executive partner. My job is to support C-suite leaders in creating customer-centric cultures and using the discipline of customer experience to do that. In my career, I've spent time connecting dots. When I think back to my marketing career, I spent a lot of time making big, bold brand promises and then watching them either be delivered with the customer experience or not delivered. So I very much see marketing and customer experience as sort of two sides of a coin. And I think that it is an imperative of all C-suite executives or leaders of a company to connect the dots for their employees about the importance of the customer and customer understanding in order to deliver business outcomes.
No, that's great. To start us off, would you mind sharing with our audience what you believe to be the best definition of a customer experience and why that is so critical to every business today?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Forrester, and just a little bit of background about Forrester. We're a global research firm and was one of the first to study customer experience. So Forrester defines customer experience as the customer's perception of their experience of your company or your brand. And that's from first point of contact to last point of contact, everything in between, whether it be a digital experience or a live experience. It's the whole ball of wax. How do they feel? And what is their perception of that experience, good or bad? We have fielded a 15-year customer experience survey and know that better customer experience, the perception of a great experience, leads to better business outcomes. It leads to customers coming back, buying more, referring your company to another person. And so that is the importance of customer experience and also definition. But it gets a little complicated because I feel like we throw around CX and customer experience in lots of different formats. Another way customer experience or CX is used is to describe the function that might sit within an organization that may have employees and a leader that helps enable an organization to deliver better customer experience. So CX is sometimes a function that sits in an organization. I like to think about that more as CX as a discipline that has different capabilities, like, do we understand the customer through voice of the customer research? Do we understand our customers' journeys? Do we do design thinking? Do we have customer measurement? Capabilities that a CX function, a team might stand up to enable leaders and other departments to deliver a great customer experience, because it really takes the entire organization rowing together and solving customer problems to deliver that great experience. It's no one person's job. It's the entire company working together.
And, I understand that in this area of expertise, that maintaining a connection between a healthy workforce and customer service is critical. Can you share a little bit of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's well, I guess I should say it's something that's fascinated me my entire career. And it's early in my career, I was in the agency world, and we would spend lots of money promoting product and promoting people to go into experiences that would fall down based on negative operating experiences. And in one specific instance, I worked at Quiznos as the CMO there. And it was at a time where Quiznos was going through quite a bit of legal issues with their franchise owners, and their franchise owners were not happy. And so you spent a lot of time promoting, please go to a Quiznos, and then what you would find is, based on employee disengagement, dissatisfaction, a really negative experience. And so I've always been interested in this idea of how do employees sort of embody a brand promise and then deliver it. And that I see now as a sort of shallow way of looking at it, and a very marketing way of looking at it. Since I've been at Forrester and I've read the research, I see it's much deeper than that. It is when an employee is disengaged, the customer experience falters. That's a proven fact. When a employee is engaged in their role and in their job, customer experience is better. That may be obvious. Dell did some research at their company, and they recognized that engaged employees actually delivered twice as good of NPS scores. So it matters to have engaged employees. And I think we all learned about that a little bit differently during the pandemic. And when we look at the research about employee experience and having, healthy, productive employees, Forrester has sort of 5 different things we look at, which I found interesting because I was new to this 2 years ago, learning the research also when I joined Forrester. The first is the more engaged employees feel like they have progress in their roles. They can feel productive, like I'm getting somewhere, right? I have momentum, I'm making things happen. So progress is a big aspect of employee engagement. Purpose. They feel connected to the greater purpose of the firm. They know why they matter. They have meaning in their work. Really big. I think we talk a lot about millennials want that. Everyone wants that. That's a human need to have meaning and connection and know you matter and know what you do drives results and has meaning and connection. The third is autonomy, which I think is really interesting in a customer service context, because a lot of times we talk about compliance to things, right? Like I think about culture beats compliance. And if you talk about autonomy in someone's role, what you're really saying is, here is the outcome we want to drive for the customer. You choose among a menu of means to get there. Now that requires a lot of training and investment in human capital. But it's more about autonomy. Like I know I can make some choices to do what is right for the customer. The fourth is mastery. And what mastery is about is I'm learning new skills. I'm growing in my role. That makes me engaged, makes me feel like I have a commitment to the company. They have a commitment to me. We know in the customer service area that turnover is a big issue. I've seen studies anywhere from 58 to 80% turnover. That's a lot. So investing in employees, investing in helping them grow skills, and know that you're there for them, and they'll give that back to you. We have found that employees that are more engaged, not only are more productive and all the good stuff, they actually give you more discretionary work. They're the go above and beyond employees. And then the last is connected to purpose, but that's connection. Like they have a connection to each other. They have a sense of community. They like going to work. We've all heard we have a friend at work. It's a little bit broader than that. Like we are a team of people doing something important, right? Doing something important.
Yep. I love the fact that you brought up the idea of purpose. It's become such a hot topic in the last 20 years, but, I created a security risk management business about, 18, 19 years ago. And one of the things our team members talked about was getting up every day to talk about our purpose, because they knew it was important. And our purpose at the time was protecting what matters. So nice. Each of them came to work with this idea of, we're going to make a difference for our clients because we're going to help them protect what matters. So the concept that you bring up around purpose is just so crucial today. And I don't think enough businesses really connect with that idea.
I absolutely agree. And I mean, I'm kind of a big fan of, like, we're all humans. Like, business is a human business. Our employees are humans. Our customers are humans. We all want to be seen, know we matter, and that we are making a difference. And so, I, in my career, have been sort of a customer person, which is, we matter. There's a social purpose construct now too, right? But for businesses that are commercial, that make money when their customers have a great experience and they come back more often, how can we rally around customer as a strategy, customer as a purpose? We call that having a customer obsessed culture, of which you can put the customer at the center of your leadership, your operations, and your strategy. And like you said, that was a really strong vision or mission statement, which mattered to your customer. Like, we do this because it matters. We understand our customer. We have empathy. This is important to them. You can do this for them. We all want to feel like we matter, right? And we're making a difference in other people's lives. Yeah. So it's, and I think as leaders, we look at our metrics and things, but we don't always connect the dots for our employees. I worked with a CEO one time that did this so well. We had 5 values as a company. One was passion to serve. We'll see if I get them all 20 years later. Passion to serve, relentless improvement, embrace change, respect for the individual. Maybe I'll miss one. But we started every meeting talking about, let's celebrate someone who embodied our values this week.
Yep.
Yeah. Who had the passion to serve, and we did get rewards and recognition, and it was ever present. And it wasn't just the CEO's job. Although if you saw the CEO in the hallway, he would be talking about one of those values or asking you what your work done and how did it impact the customer. So when you have that sort of fabric and culture in your organization, you know why you're coming to work. You have language to work through problems and conflict with coworkers, because you can say, let's think about the customer in the room. What would the customer say about that? Right? It's very useful construct in so many ways. And I agree with you that it's a little understood, and in the busyness of the business, as leaders, we don't always slow down to recognize that very human need for connection, community, meaning, purpose.
Yep. So from a customer experience professional's perspective, how do they think about economic volatility in terms of customer loyalty, customer retention today?
Yes, I love this topic. And, when we are faced with, a recession or we don't know what's going to happen next, we tend to do these sort of over course corrections. If we look back in our careers, I have a long career, and I think about every one of these cycles, we kind of over course correct. I would say the one consistent thing is you can buy a customer with promotion, but you keep them with experience. And so in economic recessions and times of volatility, a lot of times you'll throw a lot of money on getting new customers in the door, which really is doesn't make a lot of sense, because we know that the most cost-effective thing is keeping the customers you have happy and encouraging them to, repeat purchase with you or share with their friends and that kind of thing. So to me, I've always found this sort of interesting tension between, as a marketing professional and a CX professional, of needing to drive traffic because everyone feels good about top line revenue, but knowing that driving loyalty is really the more cost effective, sustainable, and long-term value for an organization. So that's, a little bit of a dot connection for me is, can you as a company during times of economic volatility connect those dots for employees to understand how they're really impacting the customer, and that it's important now more than ever to keep our current customers within the fold, right? Yep. Because they're being bought by other people that are taking the alternate strategy. So it's more important than ever before.
Yep. I came across a recent Gartner study which said that 38% of customer service representatives say they're disengaged. And that, to me, as a business owner, that's crazy to hear that kind of number. What do you think can be done about that to get that back on track and to have a higher engagement rate?
Yeah. Well, we talked about a few of the things earlier as it relates to what makes a great employee experience. But I think as a leader, and we learned this during the pandemic, and I think it was a reminder of the importance of recognition. That your employees, why are they? Well, first I would say, do you have the research on why your employees are disengaged? Because every company is a little bit different, right? So do your employee listening, get your voice of an employee, get your data, understand the insights on what's really driving engagement within your operating context. But many times we find it is the things about that we've been talking about, like, do I feel recognized? Do I feel rewarded? Is what I'm doing matter? Do I have the right training and skills to know my career is going somewhere? That's a really big one. And burnout. And burnout is in these Zoom environments and Zoom worlds that we're living in is more prevalent than ever before. We have found that when a leader can ruthlessly prioritize for their employees and really get down to the what matters most, it takes a cognitive load off of your employees in a way it's very substantial. So those are some of the leadership things I would do. On this idea of it's about culture, not compliance. Mm-hmm. When you have a customer obsessed culture in company, you have lower turnover. Right. So I would also look at how are we as a culture? How are we really driving customer understanding and empathy? Hyatt does this really cool thing where they send their customer service representatives out. I think they call it familiarization tours, where they get the customer service people in the customer's shoes to have this sort of empathy. That does a couple of things. It sort of creates an education on customer understanding and empathy, but it really also connects you to a sense of meaning in what you do.
Yeah. As you look at this field in this industry around customer experience, what do you think? Are there one or two of the most promising trends today that are happening? You have any thoughts on what a business might take away and go, okay, yeah, these top two things, maybe we need to spend a little bit more time on?
Yeah, we just published the top 3 trends for customer service in 2022. We've been talking about omni-channel for a really long time as organizations. I think we've twisted it a bit to serve our purposes. So omni-channel as it relates to how can we force consumers into the channel we want to manage them through a cycle, through their journey. The real trend is more of thinking about omni-channel as channel-less, which is giving customers multiple ways of contacting you and allowing them to contact you on their terms, not yours. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
And then a second is AI has definitely helped and hurt, I think, in customer service and professionals. I mean, some things it's helped us automate, but in some ways it's taken the easy stuff off of our reps and they have to work on the harder stuff. So how can the intersection of sort of AI and customer understanding and empathy is a big one, and making sure that we don't lose human touch while we move into an AI world. And then the last is what our analysts call dark data. And that is that there's a lot of data currently about employee experience and about customers and customers' experience sitting in silos across organizations. And customer service has a treasure trove of both kinds of data. And so organizations are creating more like insight center of excellence across departments to share the data and insights to create some bigger themes and insights that drive both employee experience and customer experience.
Yeah. In the last 20 years, I think we've seen a lot of American businesses go to offshore call centers because of cost and things like that. Yeah. One of the things that we've done at S2 Verify is we explored that option, but at the end of the day, we determined that our customers need a little higher connectivity with our clients, with our customer service professionals. And so we made a decision to have that headquartered in Atlanta, where our headquarters is. And I think that fits into an example that you just cited around what are companies doing to make that better connectivity. And for us, that was one that we thought this is going to give us better connectivity with our clients.
Nice. And I'm sure that was, born from looking at the data and hearing your customer's experience and understanding that would actually, have better business outcomes. And I think that, I don't know if it's a trend, but something that CX and professionals and also customer service teams are partnering on a lot more is, what is the ROI of all of this? What's the ROI, right? So, when we do these fixes, what impact does it have on customer retention, customer loyalty, and being able to talk to the C-suite in terms of the business? We did this and it had this much impact. And we haven't always done that in this profession, to be honest. Like, some have done it a little bit more than others. And back to your point on economic fertility, it's on us to prove our worth as a function on how what we do matters fundamentally to the business.
Yeah. Well, Jen, I can't thank you enough for joining us today, sharing your insights and your expertise with our audience. And one of the things I like to do is give, my guests the last chance and comment here. And I have on a lighter topic. If S2 Verify were to run a background screening on you today, is there any discovery, anything we should know about in that finding?
This is like, I wish I was much more interesting than I am. Well, I'm kind of squeaky clean. So, but I do think what you would find is some interesting media hits.
Good. Yeah.
Early in my career, I started my career doing field promotions for Smart Food popcorn, and they had us dress up as a popcorn bag and create interest in their product by doing things like running 5Ks and things like that. So we
could probably still find those images on.
Yeah, you'll find my little face in big popcorn bags. So that would be fun.
Would you mind telling our audience where they can find more information about you, and if they were interested in connecting with you, how would they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can contact, go to Forrester.com and look at our analyst community and contact me through there. I'm happy also to give my personal email address if that's appropriate.
We'll save that.
You can put that.
We'll make the audience do some hard work and track it down.
Yeah, you can add that later.
There you go. Well, again, thank you so much for your time today, Jen, and thanks to all of you listening, watching, or reading. Please tune in to our next episode, where I'll be chatting with the founder of Purpose Jobs, Brian Landau. And it goes without saying, let's get America back to work, because dreams only work if we do.
If you want to stay abreast of HR, recruiting, and hiring trends, tips, and tools, make sure you subscribe to America Back to Work. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a rating and a review.